Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Car Dealer Live. I'm James Bagger, I'm the founder of Car Dealer Magazine, and today on the show I'm chatting with Daniel Gregorious, Head of Sales and Marketing at MG Motor UK. Good afternoon, Daniel.
Good afternoon, James. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Good to see you. Thanks ever so much for joining us. Okay, so a bit of background before we get going. Daniel has been at the Chinese-owned British brand since 2018. Before that, he's held various roles in the industry, including Head of Sales and Operations for Chevrolet Europe and Head of Corporate Planning for Group Renault. Now, MG, of course, was reborn in the UK just over 10 years ago now, making a range of practical and affordable hatchbacks and SUVs, including some clever electric offerings, which we'll cover. Now, while the industry has suffered during 2020, MG has posted some record-breaking registrations. Its big targets too for 2021. It expects more than 50% of its sales to come from electric models. However, its dealers are telling us they're not particularly happy. In our car dealer power survey this year, MG finished last. The Chinese firm scored just 42.6% in our survey, with some frankly appalling scores for its bonus scheme, accessibility of management and forward planning. Kia, the survey winner by comparison, scored 94.8%. So there's plenty for us to talk about. Firstly, fair play, Daniel, for coming on and talking about this and tackling it head on. I know our readers and your dealers will certainly be grateful for that. But let's kick this off with the car dealer power survey. It's the reason that we've arranged this interview. I mean, why do you think your dealers were telling us they were so unhappy?
Well, first of all, James, thanks for inviting me on. It's great to speak with you and great to get the opportunity to tell you and your viewers about MG, about where we've started, where we're going to, and the journey we're on, which obviously we can't do without a fully engaged and fully enjoy a dealer network that's really enjoying what they do with MG. It really is important that we go on this journey together. And you mentioned Kia when you talked about the survey, and they really are one of our role models. They've worked so hard together with their dealer network for the last 10, 15 years. We have other role models too, but they in particular stand out. Their excellent scores in your survey, in the NFDA survey, show that they know how to create that relationship with their dealer network, how to keep it strong, and how to grow and engage over a long period of time. So we look at what other people do, we learn lessons from them, and hopefully we can take that into our business to make further improvements for the future.
Because Daniel, I know you've been growing and growing rapidly, and we'll talk about some of those open points that you've got for dealers momentarily. But you know, the fact of the matter is that those dealers that you've got at the moment are not particularly happy about bonuses in particular, accessibility of the management, and some of the other things. I mean, you unfortunately came bottom in 8 out of the 13 categories that we survey the dealers on. Is anything there in particular that you're going to work on to improve for next year?
Well, overall, we were really surprised by the nature of the results. I mentioned the NFDA survey a moment ago, and in that survey, we actually performed pretty well. I think we came 7th overall out of the manufacturers. We were really a bit stuck and lost for words, without being too light-hearted about it. I'm a Queen's Park Rangers fan. I'm used to being mid-table obscurity. And that would have been a nice position for us to be in the car dealer survey. Coming bottom has made us look again at what we do and reanalyze and reassess the way that we engage and the way that we work with our dealer network. I think there are lots of scores where we were particularly surprised. I guess starting with finance offers. We've got a great new relationship with Santander, the market leader in the industry, who provide 90 days free funding to our dealers for their wholesale stock. Great demo terms for the dealers when they put a demonstrator on. And probably key importance for selling cars is we have some of the strongest PCP offers in the market. 0% PCP, no deposit required. So we're giving our dealers some fantastic offers to take to market. And they've been thriving on that. They've been selling lots of cars on PCP. Our finance penetration is 66%. Our PCP penetration is 85%. And we all know how important PCP is for retention, for long-term growth of businesses. So yeah, starting off with finance, we were really surprised by that result.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel, looking at the results, which I am doing now. I mean, to be fair, you didn't finish bottom when it came to finance. I mean, you were fourth from bottom, so you actually did perform better than Citroën, Jaguar, and Mitsubishi there. But you know, in particularly warranty and after sales, you did finish bottom of the table. And I think the one that probably is quite an easy one to tackle tackle is that accessibility of management. I mean, can dealers pick up the phone and talk to you if they've got concerns?
Oh, yes, of course they can. Yeah, so certainly my phone number, my email address are on the bottom of every sales alert that we send out to a dealer, sales and marketing alert. I'm very accessible. My counterpart in after sales is as well. And even our managing director, we've got a managing director who's been in position now in the UK for 12 years. So he knows our industry, he knows our business inside out. He's got some great personal relationships with our long-standing dealers and with the new dealers too. So we're all accessible. And again, that was one that we were really surprised on in particular. Because we're such a small team, everybody is encouraged to speak with, engage with dealers and give them the top quality service that we're capable of doing. Seeing the results has made us reassess what we do and enhance that relationship wherever we can. We're looking for ways that we can engage digitally like this with the dealer network, and also once the restrictions are eased again, get out more and more to see the dealers in their showrooms.
Daniel, I'm not here to give you a kick in, so I'll let you off any more questions on the car dealer power front. But you know, we are facing a very difficult time, aren't we, for the industry? Dealers locked down once again.
Yes.
What's MG doing to help support its network at the moment? I mean, have you, for example, guaranteed bonuses over the next couple of months?
Okay, so certainly when we saw things moving the way they did in October, we put in place a Beat the Uncertainty, Get October Done program, which guaranteed bonuses on cars that dealers registered in October. So we were in a strong position there to make sure dealers could trade with confidence and get the result done. A fantastic result from the network in October. We got our second highest market share ever, our 36th consecutive month of beating the market. And dealers delivered more cars than ever before, and fingers crossed made a lot of money doing so as well. For November, obviously our dealers in Scotland and Northern Ireland are trading pretty much as normal. Our dealers in Wales will reopen on Monday, and that's a significant part of our volume in those three parts of the UK. For England, we're looking at what we can and should do now. We will certainly look at dealer targets, we'll certainly look at guaranteed bonuses. On the wholesale funding side, we're working with Santander to make sure we put the right program in place. But given the sales success we've had, dealers are not overstocked with cars. Stock pressure is not an issue really for dealers at the moment. It's probably more the other side where we need to make sure that we can deliver all the cars that they've sold before the end of the year.
Daniel, I suppose some of these things that we've spoken about already could be seen as growing pains, couldn't they? I mean, you have had an incredible performance, really, when it comes to it. Last year, around 13,000 cars sold. This year, you're currently on around 17,000. I mean, what do you think the end of the year is going to look like when it comes to numbers?
Well, I certainly agree with you, James, that some of these things are potentially growing pains. One example is probably the used car program, which I think we did finish bottom one on that one. We've had very tight supply due to a lack of cars being in the market. We're new, we're growing very quickly. So we've worked hard with the dealers to generate used cars through rental buybacks. Every single one of those rental buybacks is sold back to an MG dealer to make profit on selling a used car. So we're working hard to improve some of those areas that we know we're not so strong on, simply because we're new, we're young, and we're growing. For the rest of the year, we're really trying to get to 20,000 registrations this year. From where we are at the end of October, we really thought we could do that. We got October done, and we had November and December ahead to finish the year really strongly. Where we are now is a little bit uncertain. We don't really know what November will look like, but we're optimistic that December will be extremely strong for MG. We've got ships arriving with sold electric cars that dealers want to deliver this year. So we're confident still, but clearly we need to get through this tricky stage now through to the end of this month.
I mean, you've had fantastic success with your electric cars, and frankly, they are brilliant little cars at decent prices, and I can see why. There will be people though saying, "Well, what does MG stand for now?" I mean, because, you know, it's a Chinese-owned British brand that sells electric cars, used to sell sports cars. Sum it up for me. What is MG?
God, that's a great question. We sometimes rack our brains in the office to work out exactly what that means too. But clearly, I can probably sum it up in three short phrases. First of all, electric. We're an electric brand. We'll be 51% electric in 2021. We'll be 100% electric before the rest of the market is. So, electric first of all. High tech. People don't really think of MG as high tech, but we certainly are. First of all, being electric. Secondly, looking at things like MG Pilot that we have on our systems, the integrated ADAS system that is a brilliant addition to ZSEV and HAS and HS plugin. But also great quality. We've got a 7-year warranty on our cars, and we don't put a 7-year warranty lightly onto cars. We know how important that is for customers, to give them reassurance of the build quality of the car and the components that we use in the factory. And that 7-year warranty really emphasizes the great quality of the car. So probably sum it up like that in terms of a product side. In terms of MG itself, we're quite a famous brand. We always jokingly call ourselves iconic, but I don't think there's another British car brand that has that kind of iconic status the way that MG does. That has helped us to gain a lot of brand awareness. People know MG exists, people know we sell cars, and our challenge in the marketing team is to make sure that people become familiar with the products that we sell and familiar with MG as an electric brand.
So does that British heritage sell cars for you still?
It's an interesting one. Certainly in other markets outside the UK, they focus quite a lot on the British element. British is seen as being very high quality. It's also seen as being a very mature product. And people in other markets really emphasize that. Britishness is seen in some markets the same way that we see German in terms of quality, in terms of reliability. So that's great for other markets. In the UK, we don't play so much on the British element. I don't think we need to. People in Britain know that iconic MG brand is a British brand, irrespective of where cars are built today. And
what about that dealer network? I mean, what are you up to now in terms of representation, and what would you like to get to?
Okay, beginning of 2019, we launched our midterm plan. It's called Momentum and Growth. And that was really built on two elements. One was growing the size of our product range. And we've gone from 2 cars in 2017 to 6 cars now in the range, but also increasing the size of our dealer network. And we've gone from, I think, 68 dealers at the start of 2018 to almost 120 now, which was our aim in the midterm plan, to get to 120 by the end of 2021. We've grown perhaps more quickly than we expected to. And that growth has come because existing dealers have stuck with us. They've worked hard. They've reaped the rewards of all their hard work. And we've had some brilliant new entrants as well, dealer groups, regional groups who've come on board, loved what they've seen, got up and running quickly and really gone for it. So we've got some dealer groups now who've taken on their 2nd, 3rd, 4th, even 6th site in the case of Stoneacre Group, because they really see the benefit of taking on MG and the great opportunities they have today and tomorrow with our brand.
That's an impressive number. That is rapid growth, isn't it? Yeah. I suppose, have you capitalised on networks that have been declining? I mean, I speak of about Mitsubishi, of course. You know that they're moving out of Europe and out of the UK. Have you managed to take any of those dealers on?
We're speaking to people certainly from the Mitsubishi network at the moment. It'd be wrong of me to name names or locations at this stage, but certainly we've seen other brands who, partly on the back of the Brexit result, that have changed their approach to the UK market, particularly European manufacturers. That has opened up showroom space for us in places that we perhaps didn't expect to have showroom space opened. And when people in those groups who perhaps weren't considering MG before have looked at what we can offer, looked at the low cost of starting, the low cost of invention coming into the brand, but also the great opportunities they have in profit and selling cars and the 7-year warranty to help them build a strong service park, they grabbed that opportunity and made it work for them. So I wouldn't say it's one brand in particular, but certainly a few brands that have changed their approach to the UK that has given us a bit of an opportunity.
And what sort of return on investment are your dealers making?
It's hard to say exactly because we don't have a composite in place at the moment, although we're planning to get one in place for 2021. But the feedback from dealers has been extremely positive. Some dealers have told us that in their 2nd quarter of trading with MG, they're making a profit. We've stacked our business to be profitable on sales because we know that the after-sales park is pretty small for a lot of new dealers. One dealer group who started with us relatively recently, we were told by the franchise director the launch of MG at their site was the best launch they'd had in 30 years in the motor industry. So I think from that point of view, dealers who come to the MG brand with expectations are having those expectations met and often exceeded. And that's why they're coming back to us and saying, this is great, we want our 2nd, 3rd, 4th site.
And the big problems with electric cars is it seems to be getting hold of them, doesn't it? I mean, how are you doing for supply, and can you get enough for your dealer network?
Well, we're really fortunate. We've got a very strong, powerful parent company that invested a lot of money over the last few years in electric cars. We have production capacity available for us. And for this year, we had secured enough electric cars to achieve big volume in the UK. Clearly, with things changing, we managed to push back some of that volume, and it went to other markets. For 2021, we've got great supply secured. I wouldn't be coming on here saying we can do 51% plug-in mix next year unless I was confident that supply was secured. So across ZS EV, which is our electric SUV, MG5 EV, which is our electric C segment SW or estate size car, and HS plug-in, which is our plug-in hybrid car, we can get as many as our dealers can sell. So our message to our dealers is go out there confidently, sell cars. We can supply much quicker than many of our competitors can.
No, that'll certainly be very pleasing to hear for to the dealer network, that one. What about that dealer network when it comes to online sales? I mean, at the moment, this is the only way that dealers can really operate, a click and collect, a home delivery. I mean, the complications have been well documented on Car Dealer magazine this week. Yeah. Is your network set up to deliver cars during this lockdown period?
Yeah, certainly. Most of the dealers are there. They have some kind of facility for customers to either order online or to view online, and to make an inquiry then by email or by phone and complete their transaction digitally. Centrally, we haven't set anything like that up for new cars, clearly because we have a model that requires and involves and is really sustained by a dealer network. And we don't want to be in a position where we undermine that in any way by offering digital transactions directly with us or any of that kind of activity. So we've taken the approach that dealers will do a great job of selling new and used cars online on their own websites with their own people taking calls at home or elsewhere. From a new car point of view, we want to push lots and lots of inquiries to dealers, lots and lots of leads, and leave that lead management and handling in the hands of those experts in the dealerships who are best placed to do that.
And what about those who are interested in getting involved in the MG brand? And we've got any areas? I mean, 120 dealers. You're probably pretty well covered in the UK. But have you got any open points?
Yeah, we've grown rapidly, and we've got a few really good appointments to complete 2020 with. But probably the key open points we'd say would be a couple of points in South London, Liverpool. Would be one we'd be looking at, and lots of others as well. On our website, we have a list of the locations we're looking at. And we'd be very pleased to hear from dealers who are interested in taking on a young, aggressive, electric-focused brand.
And what sort of investment are they looking at?
Well, the investment, we've taken a very sensible approach to it, really. First of all, it's important we have enough showroom space. We've got a 6-car range now, so we want a 5 or 6-car minimum showroom area for dealers to display the full range of cars. But we want to make sure that any investment dealers made is geared towards selling cars. We're not going to go in and say, we don't like the color of that floor tile, rip them up and put some more down. That's not our style. Everything that we want dealers to spend is all about selling more cars and being able to service those cars, and obviously with electric, make sure they have the infrastructure to service and charge the cars on site. So yeah, I'd probably say that the cost of entry into our brand is extremely low, perhaps the lowest in the UK. But every penny we want dealers to spend is all about selling cars and giving customers a great experience.
So what about the future for MG? I mean, clearly it's electric. Give me some idea of how rapidly you're going to grow next year, bearing in mind the situation that we're in at the moment.
Yes, absolutely. Well, our immediate aim is to continue each month growing our market share. And that's not just for vanity, that's also about making sure our dealers can grow their local park and build really sustainable, strong and successful businesses for the future. So that's what the short term looks like for us. Next year, we want to get back on track to 30,000, which is our next step in terms of growing our volume. Subject to what the market looks like, I think that's very achievable with a 51% EV mix in there. And then beyond that, we want to grow sustainably. I mentioned Kia earlier on. One of their key strengths has been growing sustainably year on year on year. It's very easy, I think, for us to go out to rental companies and buy a load of business. The cars end up in supermarkets after 6 months, and that just undermines the dealer network. That's not our approach, and that's not what we want to do. We want to grow on firm foundations and make sure our business is successful for us, for the people who've invested in MG, and most importantly, for those dealers who've invested their money, their businesses, their time, their resources, their people in growing our brand.
And what about the product we can look forward to going forward? I mean, is MG an SUV brand now?
Well, we followed the market really. So if MG hadn't stopped selling cars in 2005, we'd be selling SUVs now. That's the way that the industry has gone. So we'll follow the market trends. We'll make sure we're right up there with the best quality product that is on the market. SUVs clearly very important in the UK market today, and electric. So electric is going to be something that we push and push and push and make sure we're at the forefront of that electric evolution and revolution. The future cars we sell could be all sorts of different shapes and sizes, but with electric at the heart.
And Daniel, finally, have you got a message for your dealer network that you'd like to give now?
Yes, certainly. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you to everybody in the MG dealer network. The individuals who've worked so hard, service advisors, valeters, salespeople, dealer principals, everybody in those businesses, everybody is valuable to us. So first of all, thank you to everyone who's worked so hard to deliver a brilliant result for us over the last few years. And secondly, I'd like to just go back to the survey results and say, if anybody in our dealer network has got any issues or concerns that they'd like to raise, come directly to me, come directly to my counterpart in after sales or to our managing director. We want to hear from you, and your input will help us to improve what we do for the future. Daniel, fair play for coming on. Thank you very much for addressing this head on. You've obviously got some very exciting plans there, some big growth, and we'll be watching carefully, and hopefully you rise up the table in Car Dealer Power next year. Lovely. Thank you, James. Nice to speak to you. Really good to see you. Thank you. Yes. So thanks then to Daniel for joining us there and tackling that issue head on. If you'd like to be chatting to Car Dealer Live like this, you can contact me on james@blackpoolmedia.co.uk. You can find me on Twitter @CarDealerEd or send me a message on LinkedIn. If you want more videos like this one, log on to cardealermagazine.co.uk and click on the live tab at the top of the page. I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.